Dude, like, I gotta finish up about the Bite Victim saga, so hopefully this will cover most, if not all, of my thoughts concerning the box and how the Bite Victim really brings the whole series together and wraps up into a nice little package with a neat little bow on top. Okay, surprise formality time. If you like my content or are feeling in any way generous, then please think about subscribing to my channel and making my day by liking and just letting me know what you think in the comments. Back to form. Okay. So last I left off, I talked about how the Fnaf 3 and Fnaf World minigames are both connected and how the Bite Victim is the true last loose end to solving the mystery. Now there's a lot of things you could say that the box represents in Fnaf 4, but I've kind of made a roadmap to the solution as is. Scott also kind of clinches this argument for me, because back in the good old days, Scott had something to say about the box in general. He said that it is the pieces put together, since I last left off by explaining that the pieces were memories of the Bite Victim before the Bite of 87, that would naturally lead to the conclusion that the Bite Victim is in the box. And, well, you know, that's great and all, but I just like to take it one step further. I mean, it's bad enough that I'm suggesting the Bite Victim is literally kept in the box, but I'd kindly ask you to suspend your disbelief for a few minutes whilst I attempt to convince you that the Bite Victim possesses Golden Freddy. Ha ha! Now it gets good. Okay, hold on. We can't just ignore the other possibility, like Golden Freddy actually being involved in the missing children's incident from the posters in Fnaf 1. If it weren't for the books later on, I could make a solid argument for Scott retconning the canonicity of Golden Freddy being lumped in with all the others, or at least brought on last as the final victim in that spree of death. However, I'm only using the games for this series, and I know I used the books to hint that William used both yellow suits in the first video, and I deeply apologize for that. But even in the games, there's no evidence he never used both, seeing as how both operate under the control of the purple guy. Seeing as though the true date of the MCI isn't 1985 and they aren't all lumped together like in the books, I would like to propose that Golden Freddy was completely separate from the missing children's incident altogether. Yes, as the Bite Victim, he needs to die in Freddy's before the incident in order for this to work, but why would his body appear in the Give Gifts Give Life minigame if he wasn't already associated with the group as a whole? And as always, I have a theory for that. I try to account all the possibilities when trying to make the timeline work from a game perspective. It's just that if the Bite Victim is the pieces put together, then Golden Freddy makes the most sense because after all the cupcakes have been given in Fnaf 3, the puppet gives the crying child one big birthday cake, and he then dons the Golden Freddy mask. This, to me, was the intended route given Fnaf 3's good ending, and the Fnaf 4's insistence on the Bite Victim being the main character of sorts to the story as a whole. It's messy, sure, but Fnaf 4 in general was kinda all over the place as it was. The puppet is also the first character to be inhabited by the first missing children's incident victim in this timeline to me, because while the MCI is characterized by the books as a single incident, the posters in Fnaf 1 make it out to be more like a few incidents put together. So the puppet dying first, then giving life to the other 4 main characters makes a grand total of 5 being included in the posters. But then why is Golden Freddy the odd man out? Well, it's because he died in a hospital bed. The Bite Victim didn't die in a suit like the others, which is why the puppet needed to give him a body to inhabit in order to give him his gift. In the last frames of the Give Gifts Give Life minigame, the last child is seen without a suit. Instead, he's just limp on the floor. Golden Freddy is the one who jump scares the player after completing the minigame, so we're left to assume that the identity of the last victim is Golden Freddy. Also, a little detail I noticed was how the points are displayed in that minigame. The others give you minimal points, all with the same values when the puppet gives them their suits, but when the last victim is given his suit, your points go up to an extreme amount, varying in degree. It's really random every single time you do it, signifying his importance in the broader spectrum of the franchise. I just thought that detail was pretty overlooked after a while, so I thought it'd be pretty appropriate to call out now to kind of point out how the games value Golden Freddy as special even among the other possessed animatronics. Now for the big part in my theory, which puts the puppet in control of the Fredbear plushie from Fnaf 4. I believe this makes the most sense in that it gives the Bite Victim... Okay, I'm just going to call him Evan. It's a popular fan name for this kid, and honestly, I'm tired of typing out Bite Victim in my script, so I'm sorry if you think the kid's name is Chris or Garrett. I'm just going to call him Evan for sanity's sake. To make the leap in logic that the puppet is getting into contact with Evan via the Fredbear plushie would make the most sense out of all the options we have available. I mean, if the puppet can give life to robots by putting the bodies in the suits, then why wouldn't the thing have the ability to control inanimate objects? It just seems thematically and narratively the best, instead of some random character that hasn't even shown up yet. Besides, the puppet is a nurturing figure, so it would make sense that it would be telling Evan what to watch out for in FNAF 4, and that they were still friends before he flatlined in the hospital after the bite of 87. On top of all of this, the one who gives him the final birthday cake in FNAF 3 to set his spirit free is none other than the puppet. I could be wrong, but with everything in favor of the puppet as the Fredbear plushie, add on that in FNAF World, the one who sets the breadcrumbs for Evan to find his way uses a bear in each of the minigames to represent him completing each puzzle and regaining his memory. Not to mention the color of the eyes is similar to the plushie's speech text in FNAF 4, kinda adds a little more detail to this, but colors have never really stayed consistent in this franchise, so take that last point with a grain of salt. And with that, I would just like to remind you, if you haven't already, please subscribe, like, and comment if you're feeling in any way generous. Your patronage is much appreciated, and I hope to see you all in the next one.